Should you pivot on your toe or on your heel? Well, like most things, it's not a one-size-fits-all answer, but today I'm going to give you 3 considerations for when pivoting on your toe or your heel is acceptable or even preferred. Let's get started. Number 1, we have to cover anatomy because you were created different from the guy next to you. So some people, the way that their legs were made, their feet naturally sit like this. The next guy, his feet might sit like this. The other guy might be straight up, right? So certainly anatomy is going to play a part. So it's worth mentioning right off the bat. Now, aside from anatomy, whether you rotate on your toe or on your heel usually depends upon the quality of your brace. Let's say I am throwing that direction. We're going to call that 12 o'clock. My final plant, if I was throwing that direction, is going to set my base up slightly off of 12. I'm going to call it 11 o'clock. Now, since we have this offset based on where we're throwing, when I go to press into the ground trying to stop my forward momentum with my brace, when you put force downward, your leg is going to extend up, right? This is why we see some straightening happening with the brace. It doesn't have to go up all the way. We see some players like Paul McBeth with less of a straight leg, and we see some players really straight. But when that straightening happens, it's going to roll my weight from my toe towards my heel. And that's all just a byproduct of me trying to stop my forward momentum. So that's why we see guys who are throwing off the tee especially, they're stopping, their legs extending, and you can feel it if you do this with me. If your leg extends, you will feel pressure roll towards your heel, right? So when I go to throw, my toes are already basically up because that's what I'm using to support myself. So when we are setting up to throw harder, we brace harder, which means more extension, which means for most people going more towards the toes. So for most amateurs, they are not pivoting on their toe by choice. They're pivoting on their toe because they didn't brace properly. Now that also means that when we're not trying to throw fast or throw hard, we don't need a strong brace to stop our forward momentum. So players will subconsciously have a softer brace to leak that energy and prevent them from just overshooting their approach shots. You'll actually end up rotating more on your toe because we're just very squishy on that front leg. We're not extending real heavy. So you'll get someone who on an approach shot looks more like this. Right, little toe rotation, the heel's actually still up. So that's when it would be almost expected for you to pivot on your toe, especially if you're throwing like a little Anheuser with some body English on it. The third time we might see this is with people who have a good brace, but they are more rotational in nature. So this would be someone like Paul McBeth. He kind of makes a habit of pivoting on the outside / front of his foot. He doesn't go to his heel like you see other guys go. And that's because he is so rotational in nature. His hips, he's trying to move his hips forward. And when your hips move forward, it starts pulling that hip back, which eventually starts twisting your foot. And just by nature of where you're at in the throw, by the time your hips are forward here, you see how my shoe's already trying to pivot? It's gonna roll it more towards the outside of your foot if your hips are trying to drive forward a whole bunch, right? So there are people who are very rotational in nature that have a good brace, but because of the hips being more open, tend to rotate on a different part of their foot. So I'm not gonna ask Paul to change it. Are you? So what do you do with that? Well, on approach shots, know that body English and all of that's going to take precedence. We're not trying to plant really hard, so you can rotate on whatever is natural there. With drives, work on your brace. Chances are, if you have a good brace, you're going to rotate on the heel, but we see exceptions to that. So I wouldn't, stay awake at night, certainly not for that reason. All that to say, everyone is unique. This is why personal coaching will never go away, because a coach needs to kind of know and sort through, okay, is this a problem, this toe pivot, this heel pivot, and they can apply to you, to your form, what you have to worry about and what you don't have to worry about. Okay, so we've got coaches on our Patreon right now. Link in the pinned comment. Thanks, guys. All the best practicing. Peace out.